Good evening then. So, how you doing, Evan? We're back, and we've got you on camera.
Doing well.
We've got a camera working as well,
Excellent.
which is nice. So, welcome back. We're on our fourth go, right? So,
Yeah.
we're talking tonight about, well, amongst other things, why team events are the best thing. Because, like,
It's a bold claim. We're gonna have to work hard for it.
Yeah. I will stand on my hill and I will fight anyone. But before we go too deep
And you'll
into
do it
it,
for the team behind you, so you will.
yeah, exactly right. And the biggest team events, you bring like multiple teams with you, right? So there's like 10 of you, 15 of you. Seems good.
Oh yeah.
So the music seems a bit loud, so I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. If anyone's watching has any problems hearing us, just let us know. We'll do some editing on the fly. But yeah, so start off with welcome, and welcome back if you're watching this on YouTube or if you listen to the podcast version. I have told you, right? I'm doing an audio version every week just to make it easier for people to listen to. But yeah, you can follow us, like, subscribe, do that sort of stuff, feed the social media gods, and you'll be able to keep up with what we're up to. Hopefully,
Feed the algorithms.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Look at pictures of my
They
cats.
are hungry and they will starve without you.
Yeah, I'll feed people occasional pictures of my cat and my puppies to like help, that sort of thing.
Oh, you are shameless.
Oh yeah, mate, absolutely. It's what keeps me sane. This stuff keeps me sane though, so I can't. Hey, Sindra, nice to see you, buddy. Sindra from Norway is just saying so all sounds good.
Welcome, Sindra.
So the first stuff we wanted to talk about was basically to let people know what's happening. So there's been we had something different planned this week, and then a bunch of announcements have been made, which has changed what's happening. So the Boca Brawl have opened registrations. So if you're not aware of it, Boca Brawl is in New Jersey, so New York, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Excuse like is there much difference? Norbert and the New Jersey SOBs will be like up in arms, but no, it's like it's got such good hype behind it. It's a multi-event, essentially like a little mini con that they run. There's like the big base brawl where does everyone have a chance to win a huge base, or does everyone actually win a huge base? I can't remember. It's been a while since they run it last, but there's a team event as part of it, and that's what basically reminded me that we should talk about team events. But they cover everything. I think this year obviously it's going to be the first one back, and they're being really careful about it. But there'll be Warcaster. There's definitely Warcaster, Monpok,
Really?
Brawl Machine, War Machine, team format War Machines. I'm not sure if they're doing Riot Quest off the top of my head, but
I'd love to know what sort of uptake Warcasters had.
yeah, it'd be super interesting to see. Yeah, it'd be super cool because I don't know anyone anywhere near us.
Yeah,
But
I don't know anyone locally.
But apparently the models come into Firestorm and they're straight out. So someone in the UK,
Oh, wow.
someone is buying them.
Someone's interested.
So it'd be cool.
Yeah.
I need to try and figure that out because the models I think the models look super cool. I'd definitely give it a go if I had people to play with. But I wouldn't buy them on the off chance that I can find someone to play with after the fact. You know, it's a big investment, right?
PP models are too expensive to buy just because you want to paint them. You want to know that they're people to play on.
Yeah, you got to play
on the table against.
Exactly. But yeah, so check out if you're in North America, because I know there's like a bunch of Canadians go down every year, or if you like, fancy some world flying, check out the Boca Brawl. They've got like a really cool crew behind them. I've watched and like followed it for a couple of years. I've never got out to it, but I've got like a young family and other responsibilities that mean I can't just fly off to the States to play events when I can. That'd be alright.
I have to say the advent of lockdown and Wartable and the VTC has had me interacting with the Americans a lot. Well, obviously a lot more than I would have.
Yeah.
And it's really engendered quite a bit of fondness in me for the American gaming scene. Like the guys I've met and played with have just been fantastic people. Like I would jump at the chance to sign up for this.
Yeah, I think of the
right continent.
Yeah, of all the things that have come out of like the COVID situation, the fact that our worldwide meta has basically become a lot closer. I think because people are playing games with like before. People would like, you'd have occasional people like force themselves into playing Vassal, whereas now there's huge events, there's leagues going on constantly with Wartable. People
I used to play
Vassal.
God,
people enjoy, people enjoy playing on Wartable, and I'm not sure people got by with playing on Vassal. I think that's the difference. But it was
pretty accurate.
I think it was a great achievement at the time, but it just wasn't designed with that user inside.
Because
there was no other option.
Because you needed the practice. You knew you needed the practice, and that was just the only way to get enough games. But you never enjoyed the games you played on Vassal.
Yeah,
they were just It
was a chore. It was a chore. It was a chore to play. It's basically like Vassal is doing homework.
At 5 a.m.
or Vassal is doing homework, and Wartable is going to the pub or to the film or to the movies.
Yeah, exactly.
with your mates instead. But yeah, I think that's been amazing for like the worldwide community, and talking about that's the other thing that then popped up today that also made me go, we definitely need to talk about team events. Was Ryan opened registration for the VTC, the Virtual Team Championship. So the Fishcord team are like 100% behind it and are just going ahead with it. It's date-wise, 18th of February is the actual event. So round one, same as it's previously been, round one would be like a league style. So you'll have a week to play your event. A week before that, you'll know who you're paired up against, and then you've got a week to play. And then the 26th of February is like the full-on. This is the weekend you play your games, and at the end of it, someone goes home a winner, or someone stays home and is a winner. And if you haven't seen it, VCC is like it's a huge, like a monumental organisation to get done. It was fantastic. It's like broken like all the charts. I think
the fact that it's happened off the back of volunteers just saying we want to make this happen, is outstanding.
Yeah, absolutely.
And and the naivety. We were chatting to Ryan and the Fishcord guys. I don't know, it must have been about a month ago at it's London Steamroller, and they were saying, we're not quite sure. Do you think we'll have the? Do you think we'll have enough interest to run VTC again now that people are playing in real time?
Yeah.
And the response around the room was just the shock. These stunned faces, like, "Are you kidding?"
Yeah.
Of course, people are keen.
and exactly like I said, yeah. So
shouldn't be a question.
We can't play with people in Canada and like all across America and all across like the Nordics and mainland Europe, and and I think I played at least one Russian, and you can't do that unless you're saving up for the year to go away to like the WTC.
I've now got 3 years running a South African team that's joining. You couldn't have done that without a virtual tournament.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was no ways.
It's super cool that there's loads of different leagues as well, which help obviously. So there's Brawl Machine leagues. So if you're starting off, it's a great way to get into it and learn the game, and like top that up with physical games and practice. But yeah, it's like it's there in the palm of your hand to basically play with and interact with this fantastic bunch of players from all over the world, and you'll get to see lists that you might not see otherwise. Some people put some crazy ass jank in front of you, some people put the most competitive stuff in front of you, But you get to see it all, like every end of the spectrum.
There definitely is a warning to go forward. Like, if you're in a small meta that is quite isolated from the worldwide meta, the great thing about VTC is, like, in the run up to it, you play and you get to see all of these lists people are testing and playing. Yeah. But if you're not used to the bleeding edge of the meta, just go in with your eyes wide open and understand.
Be prepared to learn.
Play some games early and learn and change up your lists. Don't be set on your lists. Like, you're going to see some shit.
Some good advice there. That's good advice. And talking about WTC, obviously the WTC committee have been sending out emails to all the captains. I've tried to broadcast it a bit more because I know they were.
I didn't see that.
A lot of people getting or weren't getting the emails through. So I got the email for the Welsh team, even though I'm a committee member rather than the captain. So I forwarded that to our captain. But I also was in like our big international chat. None of the American captains had it. A bunch of the Scandinavian captains hadn't had it. I think only one of the English teams captains had it. So basically, so I've fed that back to the WTC committee. I'm not part of their committee. I'm just trying to like help get it out there because I'd love because I want to be able to go back myself. So if I do what I can to help that happen, then I've got a better chance of being there as well. So
let's take a look and see what happens. I'd like to get onto or see if I can make a plan for Team England. That could be fun.
Yeah, so there's at the moment where we're waiting for the WTC committee to make an announcement following feedback from all the captains. Basically, they've asked all the teams that were registered for the last one if they want to either have their money back and just pull out their team, but it's the team that pulls out. So that means that when they look at how many teams are going to play, that means that your team might not have that slot. So say England pulls out one of their teams, then they'll still only have the teams that are left, basically. And then also the other option being you have a partial refund depending on how many people are going, or you basically want to go, yes, we'll keep our money for now. We want it to go ahead. Let us know what we can do. So there's various like levels of it where they're asking you if people want to have it as the same size if possible or like a reduced number. Obviously, some people are going to be less able or less willing to
run this year.
So the hotel is booked already. So it's in Poland. And it's all basically set up so that half of the logistics are already there. Deposits paid for the hotel. They're honouring the original price. So obviously they want to be able to have the money and have a big event there. So hopefully enough people have said we want it to go ahead. I know some teams. Yeah. I definitely know some teams have pulled out, but I won't talk about which ones have told me they have, because I think some start replying to me, and I'm like I'm just a player. I'm just like trying to help. So it's like go and take it to Simon and the WTC committee, like the organisers. But yeah, so I'm super excited if that happens. I want to go back. That was my first real taste of team events. But we'll come back to that in a minute. But let's talk about some games first. So
sure.
I've obviously had my house has been a bit chaotic. My wife's been in hospital, so I've been looking after kids and puppies. But I've managed to have a couple of games at club before she went in, and then I've managed to have a game at home. Where I've tested out the new setup, the new studio. It's my kitchen, everyone. It's no my kitchen is my studio for gaming space. I have like a little office space for painting and stuff and streaming, but but I also have hella long wires, so like the camera setup can basically connect to the PC, and we should have. We should have hopefully next week. On a Tuesday or a Wednesday, not sure which one.
Hella long wires. Does Wi-Fi not work in the north?
Well, it's not the north. It's my house. So my house is old. My house is old, and it doesn't. Yeah, Yeah, Wi-Fi. It's fine. It's fine if I want to like browse. Yeah, if I want to browse stuff on my phone.
North of the Thames, the north.
Yeah, if I want to browse some stuff on my phone, I can get away with it. If I want to stream anything, absolutely no chance. Like my upload speed is like way too bad to even try to do it on Wi-Fi. And I was.
Fair enough.
I can't remember if I said to you last week. One of my D&D party was. Because I play a couple of D&D games. I play one every week with a bunch of guys who used to do LARP with live action roleplay. So I've known him for like 20, 25 years, some of the guys. And he was like essentially just jizzing all over like what his connection was like compared to mine. And I know I'm on the edge of the countryside. So brace yourselves if you don't know what it's like to not live in a city. My download speed is 20 meg on a good day, a real good day, and my upload is one. It's one.
3 years ago, I was playing online games with 200 ping because I was playing from Africa.
Yeah.
I fully understand what you're talking about.
I'm probably on the equivalent to basically people playing like dial-up from Africa. That's like
it's not quite that bad.
It's pretty bad, but like which is why that when I record stuff or when I stream games, they go up afterwards on YouTube because I've got the upload onto YouTube has to be an overnight process.
Right.
So I've got to basically set it up and then I go to bed. And when I come back down in the morning, mostly it's uploaded. But otherwise, it like just means that I can't use my internet connection to do anything else while I'm uploading stuff like that. One day we'll have good enough connection in the sticks.
I feel like at this point it should be like breaking into song or something.
Yeah, well, yeah. Whereas Tony, one of the guys we were playing D&D, was like, oh yeah, my let me just check. Oh yes, my current download speed is like 1200 meg or something. And I was like, thanks. That's what I could do in a year. You know. 1200 meg a year rather than per second is my anyway. So the plan the plan is next week is to see whether or not the setup will actually let me stream it, because it might. If it does, all the better, because that means I don't have to faff around. If it doesn't, then it'll just be recorded and I'll stick it up on YouTube, and I can obviously do like Facebook and Twitch replays of it as well. So that's the plan.
Okay. Very neat.
And a bunch of the local guys from Club for Warmachine and for Age of Sigmar are both sets are kind of keen to come round while kids are in school and people have flexible working hours, and we can do essentially like a full day once a week. So there's potential to do
that's fantastic.
like maybe like 3 games over the day, depending on how it runs, which would be pretty cool.
My usual local kind of in-person gamers, one's gallivanting out in Portugal, and the other one has just gotten back into London. Has been also mucking about somewhere up north. So I've had to limit myself to online games for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I've seen pictures from of the not any actual pictures of him surfing, but like pictures of him posing near where one
posing
might
near
surf.
Water. You think he's learned his lesson? The last time he actually tried to take photos of himself doing something active, he was in a cast for 3 weeks.
Yeah, bless him. He's a good guy though.
Yeah.
So
picking up skateboarding in your 30s.
Oh yeah,
There's lessons in there.
It's way too late for me. So let's talk about games quickly then. So I've had 3 games since we talked about stuff last, and they've all been with King of Nothing. So I've stayed on Grimkin from after the Sherwood event, and I'm just trying. I think I've actually kept the list as it is, and
okay, it's the 6 clock atrocities.
I've not touched. Votes. Yeah, and I've not touched, and including the two manly men being the important part of the the Grave Ghoul being the important sort of little core section of the support. And I've basically just been trying to perfect the art of how to kill someone's caster if it doesn't look like you can play any other way. So we had my first game was with which was at the local club, which is in flux. We're not sure what we're calling ourselves at the moment, but there's a discussion about changing the name just because Barbara Miners Workers Club Gamers or something like that doesn't sound particular. Doesn't roll off the tongue. Right. So there's various suggestions of I think Epic Wolfpack is one of the popular suggestions, which is Wolfpack used to be a bunch of competitive players from Derbyshire, included like the captains for the WTC teams from England, and one of the guys from club used to be part of that, and one of my old housemates used to be part of that. And yeah, that's got like some traction. So we might be the epic version, as in like a little nod that it's a Warmachine thing. So Wolfpack gone epic because we're a new edition, new bunch of people. I've suggested we be something related to ducks because that's a Derbyshire thing, and I found some really nice dice with little rubber ducks inside. And if every club wants their own dice, right? But we'll see.
I don't know about every club, but if you told me they got ducks on them, I'm in.
Yeah, literally see-through dice with little tiny rubber ducks inside. Something cool about that.
Yeah.
So I got to play at club. I played Samantha, who was playing Convergence. She's not played for like a good while, so we had a chat about like the state of the game. And obviously, I've just come out of playing Convergence all through lockdown. So I was like, well, I'll know most of your stuff, and let's take our time. We played with a soft clock, so the idea just being to not overrun too much. And we kind of talked at the start and said if everyone else that's playing is starting to come towards the end of their game, and our clock is gone already, then basically she's like, yeah, just end it. so essentially. We played out, and I very much played a learning game for her to try and get back in. So it wasn't here I run everything forward.
Yeah.
I put my cloud all down. You can't see anything. And the next turn I kill you. It was we played around and stuff to make sure she was getting like getting back into the swing of it. And then nice. And then we played a couple of rounds. And each round, she'd remember something else, and we'd talk about things, and we'd talk about stats and how different things were working. Or she hadn't noticed something, how if it was new. Not sure if she'd played against Defiled Archons before. But yeah,
they can be a shock.
Yeah. They can definitely come. Yeah, but we got quite close to like the end of her clock as other people were rounding out their games, and then she passed the turn to me, and we had a brief discussion. It was like, well, if we want, we can finish it here. I'll show you how this works, and then we can basically have another game, right? So in a very nice way,
which is the right way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't I'm gonna just stuff it down your throat.
How new is this player?
So
I think new, or I think
she's played for like a number of years, but she's been really busy over lockdown, so she's not been playing. So it's been a good while since she has played, but she has been playing.
Okay, so I mean, if she's returning, then that's all good. But I stumbled on, almost by accident, a really nice trick for introducing new players at that point.
Yeah.
You kind of get them to a point where, inevitably they give you an easy assassination.
Yeah.
But it's easy because you've been playing for a while and it's obvious to you. It's not so obvious for them.
Oh, yeah.
So a great thing for if you're dealing with a new player is you get to that position, you can assassinate them.
Yeah.
You've got nothing to prove. So you actually tell them, right, here we go. Here are my cards. Here's my dice. Unpack this knot.
Yeah.
There's an assassination here. See if you can find it.
Yeah.
And it's particularly for new players, like in their first 2-3 games.
Oh, it's a lot to take in.
It's a lot to take in, but at the same time, going through that exercise of unpacking this assassination solving this particular puzzle on the table.
Yeah.
That's the moment that hooks people
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, people like the story at the end of the game as well, right? If you either assassinate or survive by the skin of your teeth, because you either done something right or your opponent's done something wrong, that's going to stay with you a bit longer, and you're going to remember it, which is cool.
I opened a hole to his caster was blocked in. I opened a hole by two-handed throwing his one model out of the way, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's sort of coolness. But yeah, so we wrapped it up. It was it wasn't too. I think she was playing. Is it Lucant? No, she's Cytherean. She's playing Cytherean. And yeah,
right.
Cytherean was in range of like a bunch of stuff, and he doesn't have particularly good defensive stats, so he went down pretty easily. There wasn't much to it. And then we re-racked, and I got to play against a Signar list that one of the guys comes up from a little bit from sort of Nottingham way. I put together, and it was a Nemo 1, I think. And his idea is playing this list.
What does Nemo 1 do again?
Well, so I was like to the Warroom, right? So he's like, here's my list, and it is Nemo in Storm Division with a bunch of Silverline Storm Guard with their UA, a bunch of the Kador, like assault commando dudes. I think they're Kador, like this, some sort of. Yeah, I might be wrong. They might be mercs. They're probably mercs, right?
Assault commandos. They're spelled Mortal Kombat style with a K. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but basically, he had some sort of like commando guys who can put down clouds and like, but the thing is, every time they do that, it's a spell they do. So it might be they got to be a merc unit, but basically it charges up Nemo. And that's the crux of it. So basically, each time there's a charge gets built, Nemo gets this bigger and bigger stack of focus on him. So he's basically ridiculous by the end of it. Arcane accumulator, right? So with another model in the control range cast a spell, he gains 1 power token. You can have up to 3 power tokens. After the model replenishes its focus during control phase, replace each one with a focus point. And after the model replenishes its focus, before it allocates focus, you can spend focus to increase your control range by 2 inches for each focus point spent, which is interesting. And he's got decel and locomotion, and he's got lightning shroud, but his feat is control-wide. Enemy warjacks, warbeasts, and horrors currently in Nemo's control range suffer a power 14 electrical damage roll, which is simultaneous. So we talked about this, and it's like, so if he can get like an armored debuff in that area, or like fireflies out, basically he can do this ridiculous boostable power 14 pulse. That's all simultaneous, so you could like just take out
a firefly and a hermit up there. You can start doing some real damage.
Yeah. It's like that's pretty mean, and it's great against Grimkin, because if you do something simultaneous, then you're not going to get the chance to trigger sacrifice when your clocks all take power 14. Yeah, so power 14 to 18.
No, it's the worst thing to do against Grimkin, because everything takes damage, and then when you finally kill one thing, everything else gets healed with sacrifice.
I don't know, but if you've like softened them up, you could basically just go, I'll now kill all of your clockstresses at once. It's simultaneous.
Good luck.
Good luck. Oh yeah, but you get, so from 14, if there's a firefly and a hermit involved, so it's powerful, but boostable as well, right? So it's boostable power 14 to 18.
I suppose there is that.
And it's like, yeah, that's potentially good chunks of damage. Anyway, so he had the Silverline Storm Guard coming down the middle, and he had 4 Centurions,
right?
Which is like, that's a lot of meat. And then a Journeyman. So there was like D-Cell was up, Arcane Shield was up, and I was like, how and you can't charge the Silverline Stormguard, and you can't charge the Centurions. So literally, his entire like front list you will fight is unchargeable every turn. And I'm like, some casters have that as a feat for one turn, like Kaelissa, right? I'm like, I cannot charge any of your front stuff on any turn.
That's really strong.
It's like that's interesting.
Do not love that.
Yeah, so I can target stuff behind to like go in with an assault spray, but obviously then I fail my charge, so I don't get any melee attacks. Or I can trample in, but obviously then I don't get my attacks. You lose your spray and 3 attacks.
Trusses desperately need their initials.
Yeah.
They're only Fury 3. They need their 3 initials.
Yeah, so it's pretty rough. So he's come down. He's barrel and they move pretty far. With the various things he's brought with him, it's like wow, they're going to be in my face the next turn. So I ran up, he ran up, and I was like, how do I stop this list from just crushing into me and being a real problem? And it turns out, so I put up some pictures on some groups of how many focus does Nemo need to be on to be safe, and I basically was like, my win condition here is just killing the old man. Like, it's going to be really rough to try and grind through all the armor and all the guys he's got. And I was like, well, Nemo was camping, I think 3. But I'm like, well, but he is like the original old man stats. So if I land a slow on him, if I land 1 Clocktress spray, I'm pretty sure I just toast him. And I could only get... I'd have to cast Host of Shadows to get some of the clocks in. But I think I could only get 2 clocks involved and 2 2 Defiled Archons with 1 Hellfire each. I think they had to go up, do a Hellfire, jump forward, and then do a second one. I might have had 2 from one of them, but yeah, it was looking like definitely 2 sprays, boosts from the boosts and rerolls with the Grave Ghoul, but yeah, basically, and then Hermit, and then King of Nothing, Baron Tonguelick, and then 2 or 3 Defiled Archon shots. And that was my lot.
I mean, those Defiled Archons really just seal that whole list together.
Yeah. But it was fine. Yeah, I basically
assassination anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I threw up the first clock that didn't have to have Host of Shadows up. Boost the spray. It lands on him. He's got to reduce it with focus because he's got like armor of 14 or something. Does a chunk of damage. And at which point I'm like, all right, okay, yeah, it's now King of Nothing. Well, I run a monkey up to within 5. I kill the wagon runs to within 5 of the Grave Ghoul. So then one of my clocks that can't reach then goes over, kills the wagon to give the Grave Ghoul an extra corpse, and make sure that the monkey is no longer out of command because it is the only member of the unit. Then King of Nothing ports over, and I just does like 2 Death to Dusts, and it's enough.
That's enough to dust.
I don't think I even get in. Oh no, I do the Defiled Archons before King of Nothing, just to show him what they did because I'm not sure he'd seen Defiled Archons. So I was like, I'm pretty sure this is like a guaranteed kill at this point. So you Death 5, the Defiled Archon's going to come forward and flex, and then King of Nothing will go forward and finish the job, which is what happened. Yeah. So two very much going for the. Here's the angle so that they can come in and then my third game, which is one of my locals, Nathan, who's I think he was on the England WCC team a few years ago. He's definitely had aspirations for getting back on there, I think. He's an old school player, he's a good guy, and he was playing Krissa in Children of the Dragon, with like a bunch of Legionnaires, a couple of Virtue Champions, Zuriel on 1 Blight Archon and an Angel on another Blight Archon, and then I think and then a third Angel and a Seraph, I think, and a Mechanoshredder on Chrissa, and a hermit as well. And that was interesting.
Right.
And that punches pretty hard.
Did he have a seraph?
Yes, a seraph as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be that Chrissa didn't have a third angel. I'm sure they were 3 angels. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there were 3 angels.
It's hard to fit 3 angels in with Zuriel when you've also got a seraph.
Yeah, it
14
might be.
Points for a support beast is expensive.
Yeah, it might be he just had a seraph and a Meccano on Chrissa, but that seems very short of battle group points then, though.
No, Chrissa wants quite a big battle group because her speed buff spell is only battle group. Yeah. So she really needs to load up her own.
Oh yeah, he definitely had an angel because we talked about its threat range and it was like 21 inches into melee or something.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So that means he's putting the support on the Blight Archon.
Yeah.
Or Blight Archons.
No, it was a Zuriel on 1 blight and another angel on 1 blight. So the Archons were just we're just carrying work tools.
Wow. That's a strange.
It was cool.
I always struggle with my Chrissa lists because I want to put everything on Chrissa because I want the extra 2-inch threat. I don't just want 1 missile. I want to threaten with the entire bloody list.
I really like angels though on the Archons because you go in, you smash something, you sidestep. If you want, sidestep either to get to where you want to. Or to back out, and then you sprint. Then you sprint back out at the end.
You're going to love the list I bring up in my 3rd game when I'm going all in on that.
Oh, that's cool. So the game progresses with it. We basically both run up. We're very much both going. We played on split decision. I can't remember what we played for my first 2 games. I think it might have been Anarchy. But yeah, split decision. Both of us our objectives are going to do next to nothing. I don't think objectives are important enough now, like the effects of them rather. So only into select games, I think they matter. Obviously into Kruger, you're going to want to have Anchor, but anything else
short
though.
Of that.
Yeah, you're well, I guess it does something. But yeah, he sort of came forward aggressively on his 2nd turn, and his Seraph killed Baron Tunglick. I was like, oh.
Well, that's upsetting.
And he basically, so his plan was to put out the Seraph, knowing that everything then would be probably inside range for him to get into anyway.
He doesn't need slipstream, so you might as well lose the Seraph and engage.
To try and basically do a bit of damage on my clocks and get the Seraph and get Tunglick, and then to force me in to basically smash his Seraph and be in a position where I might have to commit too many things that he can then mop up all of those things.
Force you into a brawl.
Yeah, so we had a big cloud over the centre of the table, and I went in and I killed the Seraph and I left Zuriel. Zuriel was further back on his flag almost, but between assault sprays where I could line up Longfellow shooting Zuriel when he's already damaged is pretty nice. So he's getting 4 dice damage. And then a couple of Hellfires. Yeah, I left him on 6 boxes. So I was gutted I couldn't finish him off, and there's nothing else to do, bro. And then I basically just put down some clouds, put down a desecration around where my 2 clockatrices had landed, the forward ones. So if he was coming in, there was clouds on one side, Link in the central cloud. There's a desecration, so people are going to likely have to stand in it. And yeah, basically Nathan's, and then on the left zone, I basically just put a monkey within 4 inches of the flag behind a cloud, and a clock slightly behind, and the Malady Man saying Cradle Song. So saying if you're living and you end within 5 inches, you become stationary. So basically all his stuff on the left hand side was his virtue champions and his legionnaires. So nothing that had Isle of Sight could have got to me, basically. So I was like, well, this zone isn't getting taken. This flag isn't getting taken. Yeah. So Nathan runs with his legionnaires and sort of like weaves them in and out to get them to basically positions behind my forward clockatrice to stop it from stuttering anywhere good. And tries to do mostly the same with the other one, but doesn't manage it as well, but manages it well enough. And he comes in with an angel and takes out the first clockatrice. But as the first clockatrice is going down, I'm like, right, I can see the only other thing that's going to get in here is going to be Zuriel, who's pretty fucked. I'm like, this could work out okay. So for the first time ever, I've used King Nothing's Trump Arcana in an effective manner. So
nice.
So the angel takes some damage, and he'd moved Hermit forward, who'd also had been clipped by like some of my sprays in the last turn. So Hermit only had 3 boxes. So Hermit has got his aura out to cover both of my clockatrices. So I trigger Taste of Ash, and roll a 3. So the model that killed one of my battle group and the nearest D3 enemy models, which are like a couple of legionnaires, the angel that does the killing, and Hermit. So Hermit takes 2 points of damage. It's not a damage roll, so he just takes it.
Oh, right. It gets through.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What's an Ancient Shroud is the rule?
Yeah, because it's not a damage roll, so you just take the damage. So it kills 2 legionnaires who go in the Grave Ghoul, and leaves Hermit on 1 point, and does like some trivial damage to the angel. And also I get to cast a spell. So I then put down a Burning Ash Cloud, basically where the angel is. So it's now on -2 to hit. Because it's avoided the desecration. Wow. So now he's needing 7s to hit the second clockatrice, and is struggling. And 7s, and is close enough that I can force rerolls. So yeah, it's looking rough, and he heals up Zuriel a bit with the Archon, comes forward, and has to commit Zuriel, basically. Zuriel's like also needing like bad dice, so he goes in, kills the second clockatrice. The bounce kills Hermit and a bunch more legionnaires. At which point the third clockatrice is now basically safe. You can't kill it, and Zuriel's looking like fucked because he's like been healed up a couple of points and then taken like another 3 points from the Taste of Ash. So I've filled up the Grave Ghoul. I've cleared out some stuff around me, and Zuriel's there sat flapping in a cloud, going, "It's fine. I've got these sprays." And I'm like, "That's fine, but you're like rat 6, right, Zuriel?" And he's like, "Yeah." So you're rat 4 because you're in my cloud. He's like, "Yeah, okay." So Zuriel then basically fails to do anything else. And my next turn, I'm like, well, so I can. Oh, he does kill. The Mali man and the monkey on the right. I tell a lie. So he's got rid of the monkey and the Mali man on the right. And yeah, my next turn is basically I had a clockatrice in range on the right to go and clear up Zuriel and possibly the Angelius. But then he's got a far out Angelius that come back in and will probably take that out. And my other clocks are on the left flank, so like they're not going to really contribute enough. So like it's going to take 2 turns to get them to somewhere they can do something useful. So like my best bet here is just to finish off Krissa. She's on 3. I'm like, yeah, I'll just kill Krissa instead. This is the safe bet. Let's see how it works. I say yeah. So my clocks that are too far out basically just clear out room for a monkey to weave in and around the last of the legionnaires, and from there it's a case of the first clockatrice that's within range lands the spray, and I'm like, okay, it's now on then. The Grave Ghoul can't get close enough to get rerolls, but I think Chris has got pretty shocking defensive line. I think she's like 14, 16 maybe.
Yeah, she's the standard Legion sort of fragile 30 total.
Yeah, and Hermit's already dead, and I'd already used his ability, his mini feat anyway. So basically, yeah, did some chip damage with the first spray, and then I got to land like 3 Hellfires. Well, got to bounce King of Nothing in first. Has cast House of Shadows as well, so that's half his stack gone. So basically, I only had enough left on me, and no Baron. I mean, I had enough left on me to do basically 1 Death to Dust, which was boosted, which he had to transfer, and then I think Longfellow went up, did some more damage, and then basically Death Archon's just railing Hellfire, and at the end of it, there's a clock that can just sail over the top, land next to Krista, and finish her off. So it was a pretty done deal.
Oh, neat.
So that's me, basically just practicing killing your casters with King of Nothing. So what have your games been like?
So I've been testing out my pairing with my second list to pair with Beth 1. So I'm very comfortable with my Beth N1 list. So that's it's an Archangel, it's a min unit of Hex Hunters, it's a max unit of Archers. I've got the I've got the Blight Archons package with Zuriel and a Meccano Shredder, and there's a couple of solos in there. That's basically the list.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with that list. It does exactly what it needs to, and I really enjoy playing it. So the typical Bethane 2 lists usually are sporting an Archangel, and obviously double Archangels are really terrifying lists. But I want a pairing that isn't. Yeah, but I want a pairing that isn't both. That doesn't have an Archangel in both lists.
Yeah.
Because if a list, if a list can prey on a huge base,
yeah.
I don't want it to have its prime targets in both lists.
Yeah.
Things like Felsier come to mind.
Yes. Fair and balanced Felsier.
Fair and balanced Felsier, exactly. I'm not going to bitch about fair and balanced. I'm talking about the optimal way to play to build my Beth 2 list. Like, I don't expect anyone crying tears for me at this point. But yeah, so I'm messing around with trying out different lists with no Archangel with Beth 2. So for a while I've been playing around with Primal Terrors, and it's good. It's just I don't really enjoy Primal Terrors that much. So my first 2 lists were playing around with a list that wants to abuse Typhon. So the list itself is an Angel, a Carnivian, Typhon, a pair of Harriers, and then a Blight Archon with Zuriel, Seraph, and a Max Shredder. So it's a nice fast list. And then I've got the usual support. So I've got a pair of Shepherds, Kralix, and Asilla. And the main conceit of it really is you get it nice and aggressive with Typhon. You feat on him with the Animus up, and basically you can if you want, you can stick the +2 armor from Dragon's Blood on Typhon, or you can stick it on the Carnivian, wherever you prefer it. But the beauty is, when Typhon takes damage under Bethane's feet, you can transfer the damage and he still heals. Yeah. Which can become really obnoxious, especially if you've got a +2 armor buff on him, just because why not?
Yeah, the same with Beth, right? Any damage onto her, she can have cast Typhon's Animus.
Yeah, exactly. Although usually she's far back enough that that's not really going to happen. But yes, if you want to get aggressive with her, she can do the exact same thing.
She can tank an awful lot, yeah.
Which can be nice and aggressive, or nice and obnoxious. So the first game was a nice sort of trial by fire. So both of these tests were actually into American player Eric, and he was testing out his Trollbloods pairing. So the first one here was the pure gunline Gunny. Is it Gunny 2? Yeah, it's Gunny 2.
Gunny 2.
That's Gunny 2 with just all the bombs.
Gunbjorn with all the barrage teams and Gubbin and
this is the version of it that says I don't hit things, I don't take champions because that's a whole lot of extra guns that I could be taking, so I'll take the guns instead.
Very much like an old Mark II Lilith 2 sort of style where you go
basically
if it's not got a gun,
really
it's not coming.
Yeah. If it doesn't shoot, what is it doing in this list? And it's ruthless. So it's a lot of shooting. Interestingly enough, Leadfoot and Treads is in there for a nice little bit of tech as well. So anyway, so this game was basically a test bed. How much of this nonsense can I take to the face? So I think, did I end up with first turn? I can't remember who ended up with first turn. I think I did. Which is just run forward and not run forward too far, because this is what's so terrifying about Gunny. Like, with just a little bit of work, he can shoot a heavy off the table top of one.
He reaches real far and hits real hard when he gets there.
And he's got an armor-piercing gun himself. Like, he can easily knock off a third to half of the health of one heavy, and add in 1 or 2 boosted damage rolls from the. There's those 80 minion models that have nice power 14 guns.
Is that the sappers?
It's not sappers. It's I can't
trappers?
remember their name, but
sappers, trappers.
No, it's like a team. It's a unit.
All right.
But whatever those things are, they're 80. They've got long range. They've got and it's a power 14 gun. And you can hand out your bring it down or whatever to give them boosted damage rolls.
Nice.
And so, between those and Gunny's gun himself, like, you can kill a heavy. So you got to be a little careful. You can't quite run all the way up the table.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to playing against a Sloan gun line. Every turn.
Very much like, exactly. It's the gun line thing. Can you survive long enough to win the game?
Yeah.
So I took a bit of pain, but didn't die. And then next turn is just, okay, I stick Dragon's Blood on the Carnivian, who tramples himself forward and sticks up his Animus. Typhon puts up his Animus, runs forward, and I just run an Angelius up. So one of the things I've been messing around with is obviously the Angelius, which I'm really liking. Like, it's a nice piece to have.
Yeah.
And an angel with transmutation to get it to defense 16 is pretty scary. It's painful to deal with.
Before you stick it behind the wall.
Yeah, or you do the same thing to Zuriel. Like, you have options.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was just run into his face, and what proceeded then was he takes half an hour to feat and roll all the dice he can, and not kill enough, and the game ends as you win on scenario.
Yeah.
So it's not the most exciting of games because it's a gun line, and that's what gun lines do.
But and there are some pretty scary gun lines still out there. That's for sure.
Yeah, but also, this is Bethane. She is so hard to do all the damage you need to against.
Yeah, it's a lot to chew through.
Beth 2 is scary.
I was explaining. I was explaining to some of the guys that have come back to the game locally. They're like, if a Beth list with a full load of Harriers, you essentially got to kill 3.5 Archangels to kill an Archangel.
So hard. It's so hard to do enough damage.
A lot of lists have got to do that in melee. At which point, at some point, you're just going to run out of landing spaces, and then you really fall short. And you're like, all my heavies and all my work pieces are now just there, chilling in the wind.
And it can be a real problem if you've got 2 moderate heavies and then, I don't know, something like Moloch Khan who comes in to finish the job, and you say, well, you know what, I'm going to stop taking damage at this point. There have been 2 Titans that have gone in. I've spread the damage around. It can now just let it die to Moloch Khan. There's now 3 heavies in range, and I'm just going to retaliate.
Yeah.
No, there's so many options.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then the second game testing that out was the exact opposite. He dropped his Ragnar list.
Oh, cool.
And this is Ragnar playing in Vengeance of Dunia, so he's got all of the Merc tech. He didn't have any Archons, strangely enough.
None at all.
And this one caught me off guard nicely. So again, I got this one. I had second turn. There was a big forest in the middle. So playing with the forest, I set myself up. It's turn 1. So if I want to run with I have to choose. I can either run with the Conovian, or I can trample forward and put up the Animus. And I want the Conovian to be, front and center with the Animus and and what's it called, Dragon's Blood, to be a nice armor 20.
To really stack it.
Well, to be armor 22 and doing damage back, like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I took a look and I said, you know what? If I run behind the forest, the only way for Melvin and Mayhem to get to him is going to be if if he tramples. So Melvin and Mayhem gets 3 focus. He tramples for 1. He's basically got 2 attacks.
Yeah, he's losing a lot of his input.
I'm armor 20.
Yeah.
Like, I'm armor 20 and he's got 2 attacks. I should be safe.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you don't do the maths on your opponent's side, because that was a stupid move. So Ragnar feats to protect his stuff. Ragnar's feat, for those who don't know, is a really strong defensive feat. It's one of the better Time Walk feats out there. Basically, all of his models that you do damage to, you roll 1 less damage dice. It's effectively a 3.5 of +4 armor swing, which is, significant. I wasn't too worried about that because I'm playing Bethane, who's got a +4 damage swing. So, they cancel out quite nicely.
Yeah.
And she does that every turn, and not just feet.
Not just feet turn, yeah.
But anyway, so the first thing that I don't realize is that he quite trivially gets Melvin and Mayhem up to power 25.
Okay.
That's fun.
That's a good number.
So one gun knocked 3 damage off the Conovian from a meat thresher, and Melvin and Mayhem 2 shots on armor 20 Conovian. So that was good fun.
Whoa, that's some spicy dice as well. Then it's not just hitting hard; it's hitting hard with good dice, right?
It's 27. It's not that spicy.
Oh no.
Dice +5. That's 24 damage.
Oh man, that's a lot.
He's already taken 3 damage. Like, that's a 3 damage swing off average dice. Like, that's within 1 standard deviation. That's not spicy dice.
Yeah, oh dear
That's reasonable.
Yeah, that hits harder than I was thinking.
Power 25. It's not to be messed about with. So, anyway, and it was then my turn to just have the dice absolutely shit the bed. So with my +4 damage swing, so firstly Desengovern manages to scatter perfect shot onto Kralix, which honestly doesn't surprise me anymore. It just happens.
Kralix just dies all the time, right?
Yeah, but Kralix. So I did make a mistake here. I'd stuck. So Beth has a spell that puts dissolve on a unit, on a model, to allow you to hand out her +2 damage dice. Or, drop enemy armor by 2. Yeah. And I had that on Kralix, so he's got 3 shots and it's nice to hand it out. But in this list, honestly, that should just be sitting on a Seraph, so that I don't lose it just to a random bloody scatter.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it means I've got issues putting it up, because I have to hot swap it, and it causes problems.
Yeah.
And if I have to hot swap it, it means that happens if I have to put that up again, it hot swaps at the same time I have to put up transmutation.
Yeah.
Or at the same time I hot swap transmutation. So I can't get quite as much damage, and I need to throw it in 2 different places.
Yeah.
And then basically between a transmuted, so with a nice armor debuff thrown onto Melvin and Mayhem, and transmutation sitting on what's his face? Transmutation sitting on Zuriel, between Zuriel, Typhon, and Angelius and a Blight Archon, I killed precisely 0 heavies.
Ooh.
It was atrocious. And at that point, that was the game.
You're like thanks for coming.
That's it. Yeah. That's as much as that one's doing. So that was rather sad. It was a pity. I was looking forward to trying to, finishing something off with the Blight Archon, sprint back, and then under the feet, seeing what I can tank coming in.
Yeah.
And he'd hurts me, but I could tank quite a lot at that point. But before then, when it's a naked, what's the name? When there's a naked Blight Archon that's just going to die to crap, with Zuriel sitting on it, that's just going to be useless.
You're like,
it's just over. At that point, it's over. It's really sad, and that died. And then I decided to try something much more interesting. That was a moderately traditional approach.
Yeah.
But a much more interesting one, and I'm keen to get more games in with this. I've only had one game with it so far. I decided to try build a flying circus list.
Okay.
So the flying circus list looks as follows, and it's also part of trying to give myself motivation to finish painting the second bloody Blight Archon.
Yeah.
So it's Beth. So it's in Ravens. Beth 2. On Beth 2 is Golub, 2 Neraphs, and 3 Harriers from the requisitions.
The requisition points, yeah.
Then I've got 2 Blight Archons. One has a Max Shredder, the other one has the last Harrier, and each of them carries an Angelius. So what we're seeing here is nothing can be knocked down.
Yeah.
Everything's defense 13 or 14. Everything has paper thin armor. But a lot of boxes, and which is kind of what Beth 2 wants.
Yeah.
I've got 2 Hellmouths, so I actually have something tanky around. I've got 2 +2 armor spells and 1 +2 death spell to hand around. And every single heavy sprints.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
It's a nice concept, which I played poorly, but I really like the concept. So the Angels are both getting sprint from what's
the Archons from Crimson Ballet.
Crimson Ballet.
Yeah.
Neraphs have sprint natively, and Golub has sprint as an animus.
Yeah.
So it's
Beth,
a
lot.
Beth
can sprint if she
it's
wants
a lot
to
of
too.
sprinting. Sorry?
Beth can sprint if she really needed to too. Then
Beth can sprint if she really needs to. Although Beth,
Beth
needs Beth needs the Max Shredder's Animus to get Pathfinder, but we won't go there.
Because slugs don't run fast.
Slugs don't run fast. And I played this into Harrison's circle. So Harrison's been playing around with his Una 2 double Zapdos list.
Yeah, he's been playing like variations of that for a good while, since before Kruger.
Well,
0.
I mean, sort of. It's funny. I remember, it's about a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago. Before coming out, Stephanie was playing with double Zapdos for a while.
Yeah.
And this was obviously way back before Archons.
Yeah.
And it's a scary list. But you now add in the Ride Quest solos and the Archons, and suddenly this list becomes a whole different ball game.
Yeah. I think it's just another sort of silly compared to Kruger. So.
Yeah, and it's obviously pairing with Kruger, who he's been having great fun with.
Yeah, and obviously he's in Secret Masters, so Una's a lot harder to kill.
It's obviously Secret Masters.
Which means she was like the weak link before, and she had to keep her really safe. Whereas now, you just keep, you've got a lot of
sack pawn
targets.
There aren't a lot of minion models here for her to sack pawn onto.
But she's hard to hit in the first place.
I suppose the Death Archons are.
Yeah,
the Death Archons can be sack
off to Death Archons. Does she take Hermit as well? That's a lot of.
There's a Hermit.
That's a lot of sack pawns. Let's go.
Hermit just the Hermit is already
will have that one.
Is already 5 sack pawns.
Yeah.
It can get quite. Can get quite gross. So yeah, it's a very cool list. And obviously I've got a reroll, which means I went second because I can't roll rerolls. I don't know why I get bonuses for turn 1. And that list does exactly what it does. It just comes screaming up the table with two raptors saying, if you stay in your deployment zone, I still threaten an assassination.
It reaches. It reaches.
It's what it does.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say I grossly overestimated the damage output of these lightning budgies.
Yeah.
Even with Hand of Fate, like they're hefty. They do a lot, but I've been playing too much with archangels and I've overestimated those budgies. They're not archangels.
Yeah.
Like the archangels get 3 fully boosted shots, or not fully boosted, but boosted damage rolls.
Yeah.
You don't get that out of the lightning budgies, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I look at this and it's like, oh right, this is why you play Beth 2, because when people can pull this like crazy threat range bullshit, you feat turn 1.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what I did.
Cool.
Run forwards with, take a bit of good real estate, take a wall with Golub and an angel, sit in a forest with another angel, sit behind a Hellmouth with 1 Neraf, sit a little bit back with another Neraf, and the feet covers. I only realized this afterwards, or once I was playing anyway, that I have enough targets that I can't feat on my Harriers.
Oh.
I have, because basically I have 5 heavies, and Beth is 6, and then there's the 2 Hellmouths which you want to feat on, which is great because the Hellmouths are threatening the 2 zones, which is amazing. So you absolutely want to feat on those, especially since the Hellmouths, he's got one Death Archon threatening each Hellmouth. So, yeah, it's a really good feat target. I cast my spells and I dropped everything to feat, which in retrospect was a bit silly. I realize now I can actually hold on to some Fury, transfer onto Bethane with the feat, and then Bethane can spend Fury to send to the Harriers she hasn't feated on.
Yeah,
which is quite a nice little trick I'll remember for next time. So he manages to get quite a bit of damage in. Kogan does a fair whack of damage to both Golub and friends. He can get 1 Death Archon into the angel and Golub behind the wall, and into the the Hellmouth. So he gets a fair bit of damage off there. I was hoping that defense 16 and 17 behind a wall would mean the Death Archon misses a bit, but it did not. But thankfully, Beth's feat means I don't get made stationary. Yeah. Well, he needs 10s to hit boosted. Like, there's a pretty good chance he should miss a couple, 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But no, he didn't. So, either way, that's not a massive deal. But it's at the same time, he can't make me stationary, which is a really big deal considering that you need to strike back.
Yeah.
And he shoots a little bit and he backs off away from the zones because he doesn't want me to just hit him with everything coming in next turn. And this is where I misplay it quite badly. I look at this and I want to do damage. With some overtakes, I can get an angel into his 1 Stormraptor, and I mismeasure things a bit, and I think I can get Golub into that same Stormraptor, which I can't. So I managed to. So I send in this. I send in the angel. I boost the armor pierce, which misses, because obviously.
Oof.
Which is just really sad.
What you need is thanks 0 for the reroll.
All I need is a 6, man. Come on.
A boosted
need a 60 hit.
It's rough.
Very sad. A boosted 6, but yeah. Dice or dice. I mean, we'll go back. I shouldn't have even gone in for this, but anyway. So I realize I'm not killing that. I can kill his objective, and I can kill. I blunder a little bit with Kralix, and I don't get my line of sight right, which should be because Kralix quite easily kills off. What's his face? Kogan. But I get my angles wrong, and I don't kill the I don't do 2 initial damage onto the Hermit, which I really wanted. But I do manage to kill the Hermit, but with one bad roll, with 1 Snake Eyes, which happens. Golub isn't able to sprint. But what I do is I go up 4-0 in this turn, which is really big.
That's really big, yeah.
So, unfortunately, it's not quite enough because so I kill the 1 Death Archon. The second Death Archon that's hanging back manages on his own to kill Golub and the Angelius, because of course.
Yeah, Death Archons are definitely a meta problem.
Death Archons fair and freaking balanced.
Yeah, there's something needs to happen in there.
No, just sad. And then a raptor comes in, tries to assassinate Bethane, doesn't manage it, but does quite a lot of damage. It's quite close. Basically, he gets quite a bit of damage in. My retaliation is I kill both Death Archons, but I just run out of stuff, and he pretty much kills my army in retaliation. So I kill both raptors. His one Death Archon basically claimed a Blight Archon and 3 heavies. because that's basically Death Archons. Because that's Death Archons.
Yeah.
But I mean, what I saw at the end of that is that I've got the whole sprinting army. I didn't actually have to commit anything.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been quite easy for me to score the same 4-0 without committing a single heavy. And that puts a whole lot more pressure on him. At that point, he's got to commit hard. And he commits hard without charging, and he doesn't get the same level of output.
Yeah.
So, lesson learned there. I actually really like this list. It's tempting to try to find 2 points and turn something into a Seraph there to push up the threat range, but I kind of feel like Bethane makes up for the threat range.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tempting to get the alpha and then feat, but having just more meat to transfer to is really big.
Yeah,
and it's nice having Helmards on the table as well. Helmards just give you some. They give people hard choices to make.
Yeah, no, that's kind of cool. Hello, Fishcord.
Yeah.
Fishcord has just joined us in the Twitch channel. So that was your last game, right? As well, as we were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there we go. That seems appropriate.
Hey, hello.
So I'm not sure which one of the guys is behind the Fishcord.
No idea.
Is it Ryan? We'll find out in a minute.
I'm going to assume it's Ryan, and hurl invective at him. If I'm wrong, so be it. I'm sure Dean will pass it along.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, it is Ryan. There you go.
Ryan, it is.
But yeah, so we've gone over basically plugging Fishgord's the Fishgord team and VTC. We've plugged the Boca Brawl. I think that my local event, my winter event, the Sherwood one, is going to be a team event as well. And obviously the WTC is looking at a three-man team event. So that could be super cool.
That's good fun.
So let's talk about what we meant to do. Let's talk about team events. My first team event was the WTC in 2017. So it was the first year I joined the Welsh team. I'd been asked in previous years by some friends if I would, but it was before the WTC changed their rules. So because I wasn't living in Wales, I didn't didn't necessarily qualify as a Welsh player, even though I'm Welsh. And I was like some of the guys were like, "It'll be fine." But I was like, always in the back of my mind, it's like, well, what if it isn't fine? What if we played like, a round, and then someone was like, "But this guy like lives like where the Knights guys play," and I was basically like, I couldn't go to a team event and risk basically being like the one person that disqualifies the entire team. And I don't think it would have been that bad, but like in my mind at the time, I was like, but what if like someone takes the hump about something and goes, "Yeah, that guy lives in Derby" or something. I'm like, and then the judges go, "Well, technically you guys now lose, right?" I don't know. Anyway, didn't really matter. Like my first year, Wales were a very like fun pair of teams. We had two teams. We had Draig. I think we had Draig and Dragon. So literally dragon and dragon in Welsh. And I played with. I think I played Retribution my first year, and Paul Leatherby was our captain. Played Scorn, and then we had Jamie was playing Cador, Will was playing Mercs or Circle, and then Martin Jenkins, who was playing, I can't remember if he was playing Circle or Menoth at the time. Might be Menoth. But yeah, we had a super fun event. It was amazing. Like our first round, we were on stream against New Zealand. Yeah, I was definitely playing Retribution because I'm pretty sure I dropped Assyria versus their Cricks. It might be Ghost Pirates, in fact. But yeah, it was just, it blew my mind how cool an event it was, and we didn't like go into the event super prepped. We had some thoughts about what people were playing, but we didn't have. I think we might have had like some sort of semblance of a matchup idea, but we didn't have like we didn't build our team and our lists together. We didn't have like a full-on matrix and stuff, which we have done in later years. But it was just such a cool social event of going together. It was in Belgium, the first one I went to, I think, in Blankenberg, which is just on the Belgian coast. It was like the entire hotel was basically booked out for the WCC. It was super cool. Got to meet all these players. Some people I've been listening to on podcasts, or I've been watching their games on YouTube. And it was just characters and personalities everywhere, and it was just everything that you could love about Warmachine in one place. And then plus you got to have like a shirt with your country's flag on it. There's a certain amount of pride there, and you get to play this mini, almost Pokemon-esque game of trading shirts. Where you go, yes. What teams have got super cool shirts? Can I trade one or two of my shirts with them? So yeah, it was immense. We didn't do very well. I think both teams came quite far down the table. But by God, yeah, the social thing, we were playing drinking games, and like people were telling stories like around huge long tables with delicious Belgian beer flowing and really nice food, and obviously you all have like essentially like a little apartment, like a suite. So your team has, all of you are in the same suite. So you've got like two or three bedrooms and a kitchen and a bathroom, something like that. And that like one of the rooms is basically the living room, but it has sofa beds and stuff. And everyone had a balcony. Oh, right, it was so cool. It was just such a good fun time. The games I had were terrific. And it was nice seeing all of these different armies and people like battling, and you're cheering on each other in your teams, and you're cheering on your other team as well. Yeah, it was just everything good about Warmachine, and that was it. I was hooked. So that was my first WGC. The next year I came back again, so I played in Poland. I started to get a bit more involved in like the Welsh sort of side of things. So by now, I think I'm not sure if that was the year I joined the committee, but whereas by now I'm basically like organising a lot of the Welsh stuff at WCC. and I've gone back to Belgium again, and obviously I'm hopefully going back to Poland, and then after that, I guess we'll be on to a different hosting country, because it would be 2 years for each one of the hosting countries, and then move on. I think it's just part of the plan. But yeah, like,
oh, nice.
Being able to play, and it's not just your games. You're celebrating victories, and you're talking about the stories of every game with your entire team. You're looking at what your opponents are bringing and trying to work out what's going to be best for your entire team. Yeah, so someone always on a team goes, "I'll take the bus," you know. It was super fun. Like, oh my god, as an intro to team events, the WTC is like the pinnacle of what you can get. But like since then, I've done like different ones. I've done the VTC. I've done various team events on online. I think Bristol Independent Gaming ran a team event that I went down for, where basically like the Welsh boys and I know a bunch of the English teams all had teams there. There was a Northwest team championship. I was signed up, but I had to pull out because that was when Han got ill. I think like originally a couple of years ago. But yeah, man, they're just so much fun. Like imagine like you're sat around and you win or lose like your game at a tournament, and it's all on you. But when there's 5 of you, when you know there's 4 other people all finished their game and they're all looking at you, and you can feel them, right? You're rolling your dice.
2-2.
Yeah, you're rolling, and you know, right? No one's like cheering and celebrating, which means that neither team has won yet. You're like everyone, it's all on you. It's like such spectacle and such like, yeah. And if you lose, everyone is there with you, and they're like, that was close. You know, we nearly did this, or we did this, and yeah, it's just a whole different level of fun. Like I wouldn't change it for the world. I think they've been like hands down the best Warmachine events I've ever been to. So we've been playing since like middle of Mark II, and the WCs have been immense things, and it helps that I love the trading shirts, and I design like the Welsh team shirts normally, so that adds a little bit more of a personal thing where I go, I want to make sure people want our shirts, right? So every year I'm like, just do a little bit more, a little cooler thing on our shirts, and then I know that I've got a good shirt to give away. But yeah, it's fantastic. Like the last physical WTC, we got through as Wales. We came through the first day undefeated, so we got through to the quarterfinals. And I think we beat Spain. I think it was Spain or Portugal in the first round. But then we took out some big players from Sweden and from Norway on the first day. So we crushed some dreams, some people that were potential winners. And it was only when we got up against Tomasz and his Polish team, they're our first. It's like hitting a concrete wall. but yeah, we did a lot of growing as a team as well, and a lot of the team members we had kept on coming. So so Will, who was in my team originally in 2017. He was the captain the last year we went. So 2019 was the last WTC. He was our captain that year. And we'd sort of grown, and we've been used to playing with each other. And then we were at that point where we would build, our entire team would build together. So it wouldn't just be have a steamroller pairing. It would be as a team, what do we think? We make a matrix and go, right, these are the scary lists. These are the things we need to make sure we're answering. And then we'd pick our team like composition around that. So we'd have our players, but we'd have some flex. So it might be that someone goes, well, yeah, we need to have Old Witch in the Kador from our Kador player, so he can manage this. Or we need to have this from this player, and we'd flex and we'd change, and we'd basically be altering things around it. Ryan over on Twitch is asking any good stories from team events. For example, I remember we were 2-2 huddled around Tom's table, watching him fail almost perfect run because he refused to boost. Oh, that's the thing as well. So you can watch. Oh,
that is upsetting.
It is like
so,
the thing. It's watch, but don't touch. You can't get involved in the other tables. You just got to watch and see it unfold.
So the best story of team events isn't actually my story, but it's one I watched live before I even understood really about the whole vibe of a team event.
Yeah.
So this was back in second edition. So I was back in South Africa. Our meta wasn't large enough for team events, and frankly, we were all, very much isolated misanthropes who don't like people enough to want to play in teams.
In a team.
But I wanted to play well, and the top players in the world were playing, and this was a WTC that was actually being streamed, and players who've been around for a while will recognize the story I'm stealing very quickly as the Moore House.
All right.
For people who don't know the story, this is fantastic. So this was Australian player James Moorhouse, and the Australian team's in the finals against, I can't fucking remember who. And I don't remember what caster he's playing. The only things I remember are Megalith and a Feral Warpwolf. Sorry, I do know which cast he was playing. He was playing Belder, I think it was.
All right, man.
No, I think it was Belder. It was one of the 6 Fury casters. I think it was Belder. But he sees something that he's going for. And this is one of the boldest moves I've ever seen in Warmachine. Amazing. He looks at his opponent's caster, realizes Megalith's too far away, but his caster's close enough. Not close enough to get to where he needs, but he can make a trick. So in Mark II, you could still perform power attacks on your own models.
Yeah.
So he walks up his caster, he puts up Megalith's Animus. He then has another beast, it wasn't Megalith, another beast walk up and two-handed throw his own caster to get close to the enemy caster to drop his defense. Fantastic. And the scatter's good and it works. He throws his own caster's on the ground, defenseless, applying Megalith's Animus. Megalith then can get into his caster. All Megalith has to do is hit once. He needs a 9 to hit and he's got 3 boosted attacks. And he misses the first one. You just get the sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach. He misses the second one. And at this point, I think whoever was on the camera actually switches, to show his mate Trent Dennison just looking really unimpressed with the dice, but worried. And you can just feel the fates colliding as the third attack, boosted needing a 9, misses as well. And at that point, the odds are just completely off. This poor Warpwolf Stalker charges in and just needs too much to kill. And this whole thing whiffs. And it was 2-2. This was for the tournament.
Yeah, this was for the first place at WTC.
This was for first place. This was the finals.
And
absolutely, it was heartbreaking. I think Circle players around the world haven't forgiven. Took years to forgive Megalith for existing.
If I remember as well, there was a tweet. Like literally, as the teams were playing, and it went to the last games, there was a tweet from one of the Australians going, "About to win the WTC," and then that happened, and it wasn't the case, and it was just like.
I mean, I felt so bad for him. It was one of the ballsiest plans I've ever seen. It deserved to work. It really deserved to work.
Yeah.
It was truly amazing.
It's going to move my camera slightly so to see the wife and pups leaving.
Yeah. I mean, my experience with team events has obviously been very different. I've only really been exposed to the whole notion of team events since coming to the UK, and lockdown obviously put a lot of a hit in it.
Yeah.
So I've played in one or two small. I played in one small 3-man event down in Brighton. That was good fun. I I think Jan ended up losing a fish bet. Ended up losing a fish bet at some point during that, which is floating around somewhere. If you speak nicely to Ryan, we will have another video of his shame shared around. And then for the rest, they've all been online. And I have to say, they've been just the most fantastic experiences. And particularly the VTC, I cannot stress enough how good the lead up to VTC is.
Yeah.
Which is genuinely amazing. Just everyone's testing out lists, and it's the same pool of people where in WTC people knew about the other lists being played, but they weren't necessarily playing against their international opponents while practicing.
Whereas that's exactly what happens with VTC. Yeah, it'd be here's
precisely what happens.
Here's my horrific Aurora list. Now let's play 10 games against people we might see at the event next week.
Yes,
cool.
Ryan's pointed out that three-man event I was talking about was at Wayland, where we decided to be half an hour late. I'd like to point out that I didn't decide to be half an hour late. Jan decided to pull a Delano and to go drinking the night before, and kept myself and Dan waiting.
So the mention of I'm fully
blaming my teammate for that.
The mention of Delano reminds me. So my first experience, I think, that I can remember of like really interacting with Delano was at the WTC, the one in Poland, and like him and Benny from the Welsh team, Benny Pang and Chris Davies from Australia, who's like originally from Bridgend. So like it always chops in with the Welsh boys, and they basically all three of them did some sort of switcheroo conspiracy where they all basically came back out in Benny and Matt's shirts. So all three of them deciding that they were going to start this new Welsh Asian hybrid team, all wearing each other's shirts, and it was just like it was glorious to see. And they were all pretty much shit faced by then. It's like Saturday night. But my god, yeah, Delano is such a good laugh. I've not seen him in fact since WTC. I think
we haven't seen him. He's fallen off the face of the earth.
He's got a very serious job. I wonder if it's that's.
I don't know. No one's heard from him
taking
about
his time.
2 years. He's just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yeah, he's a good laugh.
If you do hear about this, Lano, we love you, man. Come back.
Yeah, Delano was, I think, judging WC that year as well. So obviously, if you go to the WC, you're not just set to go if you're a member of a team. People go and they run a side event. They run a WC solo masters, where you go and basically a lot of the reserves will go for different teams, so they're there. One of my puppies is in the room.
Get back to sort of some of the things about WTC or VTC, WTC, just team events in general, for people who haven't kind of tried them out.
Yeah.
There are a couple of things that really make it just fantastic from a technical point of view. So you know sort of what's out there, but if you go to a normal tournament and you're planning to do well, you know your pairing needs to cover these 3 or 4 big threats in the meta.
Yeah.
You can be a little more focused in your team in a team event. There's a whole pairing process which is way too complicated to get into here.
Yeah, but essentially you can rely on your team to try to get you a dodge. You can try to avoid the one thing that you don't need to see. So say Falsier crushes you. At a team event, especially a 5-man event where you've got the extra flexibility, you can basically try to maneuver both your team and the opponent team to basically make sure that you don't ever get to see retribution, and that can be the same for exactly. And we've done that as the Welsh team. We've had our which means knowing that you can skew your list even further. So say I was running I don't know, say I was running King of Nothing, for instance, and I absolutely couldn't deal with Doom Reavers or something. Then I could I could rely on my team to get me out of having to play into Khador at all. So only in the rarest circumstances would you see another team where they've got more than one Khador, for instance, and you're then stuck, a little bit stuck. But it means you can go, well, this is why I can't deal with it. And normally I might take this like concession to let me have some sort of game into it. But instead, if I just go, I'm never going to play against that matchup. If we can get it right, it means that you can go, well, that's going to kill me anyway. So I won't take that concession point. Instead, I'll crush the other games. I'll get a bigger advantage into everything else I play with that list, for instance. And it goes all the way back to like writing your lists.
I mean, you can even go to the extent of saying, let's have one person build their list that's got zero generalizability at all, and it's just set up to prey on, I don't know how you do it, but let's say it's designed to prey on Felsier.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you manage to do that, you can make that work in a team event. You can use that just to bully Felsier to not get stuck onto the rest of your guys.
Yeah,
which again is really powerful.
Yeah, and there's loads of different ways that I've seen teams build. So you can build it so that you have like just an even spread and balance between you all. So essentially you're all having steamroller pairings where you try to deal with everything. Some teams go where, I know we do as the Welsh, we say you can have a dodge. Each member of the team can have a dodge, but none of them can be the same. So you can't have like two people in the team going, well, I can't play into Retribution, for instance, because if you only have one, it means you can almost guarantee to get faster. But also you need to do things like make sure your lists are either asking enough questions or dealing with enough lists to basically to make you have to force your opponent to want to avoid you if you need your opponent to avoid you.
And what's really nice is in this whole process of whatever 3 months, 6 months leading up to the event, is just the team getting together to discuss how you're going to put this all together.
Yeah,
is actually a lot of fun. Like,
it's such a good experience.
My team's got an Agathon, an Agathon player. It's like, cool. That is our answer to to Kruger's Death Archons. Yeah. There you go. Like, okay, because of that means we don't need an anti-Kruger. We don't need another anti-Kruger list. Fine, let's pull together.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's play our own Felsier for whatever reason.
Yeah, and then you've got that.
And then the team come together to solve your problems.
Yes. Yeah, and then you've got like 6 months, 6 months or a year in some points where you're basically just playing, tweaking your lists and practicing against each other, talking about how things work, and it's just cool.
Coming together for like a communal discussion about it, because that's actually what really makes it work.
Yeah, it's like the whole experience. It's a building your lists, practicing them, tweaking them, sorting out extra plans like amongst yourselves. Because you when you're in a team of say 5 of you, and it's for an event that's going to happen in like 9 months' time, for instance, or 12 months' time. You spend a lot of time chopped into each other, and a lot of time examining, and you might pick up something that they don't see. So you might go, well, they've been playing minions for 5 years, but they haven't seen that this is an option against like your faction, and when they're trying to look for how they can beat Kruger, and you're like, well, I'm a Kruger player, let's work it out together, or let's practice it, let's test this out. Does this work? No. Let's tweak it, let's practice. Does this work? Yes. Okay, right. Move on to the next iteration. And there's a whole journey you get
so much
together.
It's a feeling for the top of the meta, because even if you don't have a circle player, someone will step up and say, listen, let's play 3 games, I'll take Kruger.
Yeah.
Let me feel for what his strengths are, and let me, through experience, feel maybe what some of the weaknesses are.
Yeah. And there's so many different things you could do. Like with the Welsh team, when the first VTC came around, we did 3 steamrollers, like round robin steamrollers, just amongst the team where we were all randomly assigned a faction we don't play to build a competitive list pairing, and then we play a round robin. So you then see how those meta lists and those factions, you see yourself from playing them, so you understand them a little bit more, and you can go right. How does this affect how I play against it?
You have to be careful when you do that. You have to almost have like a hard rule, like, guys, don't be a unique snowflake here.
Oh yeah,
like, We want to understand the meta. We don't want to understand what weird shit you'd pull out of your ass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for instance, like I played Harby Sirenia, and it was a case of then seeing how it works, and you just pick up all this extra things where you go, well, I now see that this needs to happen first. So even though I might have known this particular part of the army list is important, now I know why it's important, or in what order it has to go to do, which means it's easier to pick apart when you're fighting against it. So basically, it was all about learning.
Links are.
Yeah, and it was all about us basically trying to up our knowledge and our understanding, and how to counter these meta lists. And then to a certain extent, we've done for a few years. We've not taken the top meta lists. So like we've not taken Kruger for instance, to a couple of events as a team on purpose, because people will be practiced into it. And like if we can have enough answers ourselves to deal with him, but not bring him, then we're giving ourselves an advantage over teams that have got him and also have advantage into him. So it kind of works out. Sometimes, doesn't always.
I would say right now Kruger's strong enough that that's not an advantage.
Yeah. But if you bring 3 different in a 5-team event, if you've got 3 lists that can all slam dunk Kruger somehow, but they don't, or rather in retaliation, you don't have a Kruger.
You're 100% right. Yeah.
Yeah. You get the idea there, right?
The idea makes perfect sense. I want to see those lists.
Yeah. It's a theory, right? It's not a Kruger will kill you. It's not so bad, but boy, and the stories you come back from events, from like team events, the camaraderie, the jokes, seeing people that you've listened to calm as a cucumber on podcasts on top of a 4-tier human pyramid, drunk off their face, trying to take pictures of themselves and the 50 people underneath. It's a different experience. This is what WC brings. For instance,
I do look forward at some point to going to one of those. I absolutely want to.
And it is super cool. And there's like the last physical WC, I think it was particularly cool. We had a bunch of different countries that had never competed before. So Japan sent a team for the first time. Malaysia sent a team for the first time. So obviously, my Pokemon shirt collection was like, I must get one of these new shirts. And it turned out,
So do you rock up with like 5 Welsh t-shirts?
So the last one is that. So we get like I put a lot of effort into like arranges or like sponsorship and stuff for the team to try and mitigate some of the costs, and we'll get like and everyone chooses how many shirts. So for instance, maybe like the Welsh team will pay for like 2 shirts per player, but then if you want, you can buy more shirts. So I think at the last physical WTC, I think I bought 3 shirts, so I had 5 shirts. And obviously I designed the shirts, which is so I knew what was going on them, I knew how they'd look, and I was like, they're going to be in demand. They're going to be cool looking shirts. And then as I had the deliveries of everyone's shirts and checked through them, we had 2 teams. We had the first team was we were Wales Glyndŵr. It was in fact it was Owain Glyndŵr Day, one of the day I think yesterday, who was like the last Prince of Wales to lead an invasion into England. Anyway, so we had this and that we had like a chibi striker but done in his colours and with his flag on the back of the shirt. And then and then the other team was Team Caradog, who was like a 1st century AD Welsh chieftain who basically was one of the reasons why the Romans invaded Britain, because they realised he was getting too powerful. And that was a little, again, a chibi sort of artwork that I'd commissioned of Chromac, but with like this almost like snowboard sort of shaped shield that he was famous for having, and a couple of other like Welshisms put in. But as I went through our shirts, we realised like all of the shirts have got the same picture on the back for both teams. So we've all got the Chromac picture. I was like, so obviously I just got on the phone to the guys doing the shirts, and they were like, yeah, that's definitely our fault, not yours. I'm like, yeah, I know it's not my fault. Like I've been like meticulous. So they were like, okay, right. So what we're gonna do is we'll just do the run of that team, but we'll correct the everything else was right. The name was right on ours. It was just the image on the back, but it meant that they did a new run for everyone in our team, which basically meant everyone in our team had however many they'd ordered with the wrong image on the back, and then however many with the proper image on the back. So I had 10 shirts to trade.
Oh wow!
So I kept one. So I've kept one shirt and then traded 9 shirts. So yeah, so I had
great.
And it was we were playing a friendly game. There's lots of teams as well. You'll find get this like super friendly rivalry. So like we'll want to practice and play like grudge matches and fun games with certain teams. So we played against Ireland on the Friday, and just as like a warm up basically. And while we were playing the Irish boys, who were absolutely like cracking bunch of guys, one of the Japanese players came and started watching, because I was playing Grimkin, and this Japanese player called Daniel turned up behind me in his Japanese shirt with the Grimkin logo on and his name on the back. I was like, hello. So we had a bit of a chat about the game, and I was like, you're Daniel playing Grimkin. He's like, yeah, I'm Daniel playing Grimkin. So it was a thing. It had to happen. So yeah. So I got my Japanese shirt. I was very happy. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite shirts. It's like it's got like a samurai, sort of the samurai sort of demon mask, and a bowl of rice on the front, and yeah, it was cool. And I managed to get a trade with one of the Malaysians as well. So both the new teams, I got a trade for their shirts. And the Malaysians one's like bright yellow with a really cool like half a Warmachine Jack's face, like the Warmachine logo, and the other half as the Malaysian tiger. So it's proper cool.
Oh wow!
But yeah, so we had a lot of shirts to trade, which was cool. But yeah, like that's the thing as well, because it's in like mainland Europe. When it's been in Belgium, we've just driven, so we've like hired. So I drove with Steph to the first Belgian one. The last one, which was in Belgium, I'd gone down to Wales with the wife and kids. They stayed at my parents for like the long weekend, and I went to Swansea to go and meet up with my captain, and then we all had basically like a big minibus and drove together, which was cool. So we're basically talking Warmachine the entire time we're driving this, like however like 9 hours plus like some time on the tunnel, and we're basically talking about matchups and what we're going to do if we face this team, and what we're going to do if we face this team. And it's such a good laugh. It's just like you become so immersed and like so wrapped up in your team and the story, and it's everything that's good about Warmachine. Like I said, everyone's out, and everyone's there for a good time as well. It's not just we must win. It's not like a hyper competitive bunch of bullshit. People want to have good games, and people want to have clean games.
It's great fun. You get good stories. It's well, Jan still hasn't let me live this one down. I can't remember who we were playing, but I was really proud of myself because I managed to get him the perfect table. Kind of, he's playing Legion, and there's this massive cloud in the middle, and he can just hide behind and jump forward and pounce on the guy. And which sounds great, except I picked the table after putting him into Vlad 2. And I was so proud of myself too.
You're like, I've given you this amazing cloud, and Vlad's there going, no cloud.
Yeah,
Nice.
I've yet to live that one down, and I'm not helping my case, so clearly.
Oh no, it's cool though, yeah. And there's, I think I've not really done the smaller events like three player events, but you know, it's just as much fun. Like winning together and losing together is more fun than just losing. Like if you lose on your own, you've lost, right? But if you lose together, you talk it through with your teammates. You have a laugh.
Commiserate.
You basically commiserate and pick each other up and go, it's fine. You know, we've got plenty more good games to be had, and that's part of it as well. And yeah, I wouldn't change it. I super hope that the WTC goes ahead next year. Like I definitely want to. I paid my deposit.
Happen? Is it late
September?
In the year?
No, September. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should find out hopefully within the next couple of weeks what the vote from the captains and the teams has been, whether or not we'll have it on schedule for next year, and it'll be in the same hotel that's like 5 minutes from the airport in Poland that it's like I think they're Warsaw.
Right.
And yeah, it was really nice. It was really nice when we went there last time, and like they had this crazy, like the restaurant area was basically they had like an underground wedding hall that was essentially the feeding area for the entire event, and it was just this vast white room under on the basement level with these huge trellis tables reaching off into the distance, covered in food, and you just go and you feed. And it was delicious. Like it was
feed. I mean, you've described a trough.
Yeah, basically, but it was like every meal was this delicious range of stuff, and then always the dessert as well. And it's like, yeah, you couldn't knock it. So yeah, I super hope that happens.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It'd be really cool if Simon does go ahead with the team event for Sherwood close to home. I'm not sure what I'll do.
Yeah, that should be good.
That'd be
fun.
Interesting. I know Luke's keen, I think, to come up. Maybe Luke should come up, and we'll convince you to come up as well. And we'll play a little trio. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, what would be cool is, I mean, if he's still keen on that being a one-day event, I would be quite keen to just make a weekend of it.
Yeah, do like
just organize
games at
some club, something happening on the other day.
Yeah, which is I think doable. Like I could definitely have games around the house. And then VTC, I'm genuinely not sure what to do about VTC. I super enjoyed so VTC, the first one, was what got me. Basically, was what turned me to streaming for Wargaming. Took me off doing like MOBA stuff, and I realized I should be doing this. I should be doing like streaming, painting, and gaming that I like. Rather than
needs to be something you enjoy
stuff.
Because you need your passion to come through.
Yeah, and so there's a potential that I'll just play with the Welsh team again. We'll have an amazing time. But I'm definitely tempted to just go. Depending on what my other teammates from last year do, because there's definitely a sore temptation to go. I'll just stream because then I can stream and do commentary as well. You can just
be a commenter.
Yeah, and obviously commentating the games makes it more interesting to watch for the stream. Makes it more useful for people watching. You know, if I can hear audio and explain things through.
It definitely is. Especially, Warroom at the best of times isn't
not always
for
super
watching,
clear,
for spectating. And yeah, it makes a huge difference having someone actually talking over it, what's going on.
Yeah,
it's especially talking through some of the threats.
And obviously I've got like I can annotate on my I've got apps and stuff on my streaming sort of setup, so I can do annotations and draw across the screen
that's huge. Yeah,
here
makes such a big difference.
This is where this model is. This is the threat I'm seeing. What's going to happen next, sort of thing. So that's potential. That's something to think about for me, and I guess for my team.
Yeah.
But
so I mean, for me it's a lot easier. It's the announcement came out from Ryan. When was it? About a month ago, and immediately we got some interest, and we've shored up our team roster, finalized about 2 days ago.
Oh, cool.
So Team SA is coming. We're hunting all gas, no brakes. That's our job. Doesn't matter that they've been in the finals 2 years in a row and we haven't cracked the top 50%.
It's your grudge match of choice.
That's our grudge match. We're hunting Brad. That's it. That's our job.
So I guess our grudge match, if we play with the same team, will be the winners from the last one. I think Baby Michael and Sven were the only players that beat us in the first round. So they lost their first round to Wales, the eventual winners. So that was our like thing for last year. Was the team that won.
Who were the eventual winners last year? I can't remember.
It was Mike. So it was Mike Stone, Sven. I'm trying to think who else was on their team. I'd go and look, but it's on a website that no longer exists, right?
Right, bugger, yeah.
But we should ask Michael. But it's it's four men and a baby.
Oh right,
4 men and a baby, but they couldn't beat us in the first round. They beat me though. Sven smashed me in the first round. but so that'll be our grudge match too. But it's all like very good, like tongue-in-cheek camaraderie, rather than actual grudges. But it's cool.
No, there's no actual grudges. It doesn't. I mean it's a weird thing. Like outside of the Warmachine community, there's this weird stigma that Warmachine is this ultra competitive game, which it is. Played by ultra competitive arseholes, which is absolutely not
essentially people that play other games and see how ultra competitive their arseholes can be don't realise that ours can be actual decent human beings, because we're not like children or whatever.
I mean, it's not even because we're better people or otherwise. Literally the top players are so good that they don't need these sneaky advantages.
Ryan sent me the list, the top 4. Yeah, it was four men and a baby were the winners.
The top players don't say, "Oh wait, that's oh look, you stopped. That's a counter charge." They say that's going to be a counter charge. Are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah,
because they've already planned for you avoiding it or otherwise.
Yeah, so it's very. I think we're a very like mature and very friendly and honest bunch of wargamers, and that's the difference. But you see some games where the top really do just go tough shit. You've missed that. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Or various other degrees of shittery. but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to go making up hypotheticals. We're just going to get in trouble.
But that's basically. I think we're just approaching the 2-hour mark. We've talked about a lot of games. We've talked about these big team events that are now on the roster, and we're waiting for some more. And we've talked about what we think about the team event format. So I am obviously 100% a fanboy of the team format, and it sounds like you're pretty much there too, right?
Yeah, and I would, if you'd have asked me before I'd have played them, my answer would have been no. I am absolutely that. Single player game misanthrope. Yeah. I'm the person who plays MOBAs and plays mid lane or top lane because I don't like teamwork. And I'm quite comfortable that I'll never get out of the bottom leagues because I enjoy the dueling and the teamwork can go hang. Yeah. But somehow it just works well with the tabletop war game.
Yeah, it bloody does. Yeah, it's so cool. So if you're watching this and you've not tried a team event, just try it. Like, absolutely get a team, even if it's just your friends, and you go with the intention of just having good games. That's all you want. That's all you want, I think, and you'll get some of the best games and like the best experience out of an event that you'll see. Ryan just said if the VTC does well,
okay, yeah, you covered.
We might look at something UK based, but early days. Well, obviously there was a bid put in for UK to host, or for England rather, to host the WTC, and it was pipped by Poland. What I suggested back then was maybe the UK should offer to host, because then you've got a much broader team to bring in. If you go the British Isle, or even the British Isles rather than necessarily the UK, so you can involve Ireland. And you go, well, these teams, there's a lot of more players, a lot more experience of TOs and of logistics to sort of fall back on, rather than just like one team. But that'd be interesting to see.
It will be very interesting. Yeah, I'm very much keen to see anything that happens and is arranged. So yeah, I'm on board for whatever happens post VTC.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to VTC.
Yeah, me too. Obviously, that's fun. So registration. So if you missed it at the start, registration is open. Check out Ryan's web post on the Warmachine general page. You can look at the Fishcore page, and there'll be just search for VTC, or look at the Fishcore Discord. You'll find some info. Yeah. But yeah, registration is open. The event itself is 26th of February next year, with the first round starting a week before, and list submission being in January. But yeah, check it out, and hopefully people will see each other at some of these online team events, and some physical team events as we go forward, which will be cracking. But yeah, I think we've covered everything we need to do. So thanks for watching.
Yeah,
thanks for chatting to me. It's a good way to spend my Fridays. It's a good thing to look forward to. Something different to chop about.
It's a nice way to wrap up the week as well.
It is indeed. Yeah.
Talk about a hobby you enjoy.
Yeah, it's good one. So yeah, so thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you missed it at the start, feed the social media gods. Go and follow, subscribe. Whatever. Press bells and buttons and whistles and enjoy it, and we'll hopefully see you for some games next week. And I'll leave you with that.
Yeah.
Right.
Sounds great.
Good
See
night.
you next week.
See you later.
Cheers.